Thanks, Jay. You've said that the Vice President, Secretary Blinken, and you yourself have said that too many Palestinian civilians have died. We haven't heard the President himself say that. Is there daylight on that issue? Why won't he say that himself?
There's no daylight on that.
Yeah, Jake, what we heard from John Kirby at one point last week, he said that we need to have a pause to continue to get hostages out, and we need to continue to get hostages out in order to have the pause. Given that both of those factors are no longer the case right now, what are the points of leverage, the points of pressure that you believe are available to try to get back to that situation? And then secondly, if I can, you mentioned the Vice President, her travel to the region. Was she able to read out any of the conversations she had in terms of whether she secured any new commitments from Arab leaders for the future of Gaza potentially?
Actually, the Vice President just had the opportunity to sit with the President today to give a detailed readout of her meetings there, including discussions about the future, but I'm not in a position to characterize those conversations because, of course, they were private diplomatic discussions, and she went through them in detail with the President, and, of course, he'll be following up with many of those leaders in the days ahead. Look, the basic bottom line when it comes to where we are in the hostage negotiations is that the first phase of the hostage negotiation was about the release of women and children. Hamas continues to hold women, civilian women, and will not release them. And Israel is not prepared to close the book on those women or to give them up. So Israel is insisting that Hamas follow through on the release of those women. And then Israel has said if Hamas is prepared to follow through on that, Israel is absolutely prepared to discuss additional categories of hostages, civilian men, the wounded, and ultimately all of the hostages, the IDF soldiers being held there. We, the United States, of course, look at that negotiation and think, okay, how do we get back to it? The easiest, most straightforward way to get back to it would be for Hamas to be held accountable for not following through on its end of the bargain. But then we also have to think about how we get all of our American hostages out, and we are giving thought to that as well. And, you know, handicapping forms of leverage or precise strategies for how we go about that is something I will refrain from doing. I will just say that we are thinking through, both in concert with Israel and then just as a country with our own citizens being held, what tools we have at our disposal to be able to get them out.